All Blacks and Italy, folks, 47 points to 17. That's kind of the expected result for the ABs. I don't think there's going to be any eyebrows raised with this one, but it's a good solid win for Dave Rennie's second game in charge. There's still some question marks about the side. There's definitely some intent in the way they're playing. And for the Italians, well, they didn't drop as much ball as last week against the Japanese, but they certainly were living off scraps in terms of their possession. We'll go through some of the key events and the stats. You guys can let us know your thoughts. I don't know that we got the high ball test that I was kind of wanting to see the All Blacks get. This one, the kicking was relatively low, and I think that's very much going to be a trademark of the way the All Blacks, at least currently, are playing under Dave Rennie. He does not want them putting much boot to ball. He wants them to pass and pass and pass and pass. Roygaard and Ratsima, D-Mac and Will Jordan and Ruben Love and Billy Proctor and Geordie Barrett. He wants them to pass and pass and pass and pass teams into the dust, apparently. That's the way Dave wants the team to play. That's very much what we saw here. The team passed over 300 times, which is bonkers. Like Razor's side, I think the most we had in Wales last year, we got 280-something. This was just pass city from the ABs. And after a close first half, a punishing second half, and Will Jordan breaking the All Blacks try-scoring record. But we started, again, like last week, conceding early. The French did it last week. The Italians this week. Menoncello. We talked him up in the preview as being one of the guys to watch in that Italian midfield, which is world-class, and they proved that with Menoncello punishing the All Blacks for a knock-on, essentially an Italian counter-attack. One-on-one Menoncello against Proctor. He gets past him. I think the All Blacks' defense overall in that one was kind of weak, but counter-attacking play can be a time when, defense is not set and ready to go. But yeah, it's a one-on-one. It's a 1-2 play with Faisal, the winger, and Italy are in for the first try. 7 points to 0. It's 2 games, 2 weeks that Dave Rennie's side has gone down within the first 2 minutes. So slightly troubling start, but the All Blacks bounced back, I think, pretty well. Sam Derry ended up finishing it off for the All Blacks, but it was really one of those ones where it was like an arm wrestle. It was just squeezing the life out of your opposition. There was a lot of All Blacks territorial and possession pressure going to work. The Italians conceding a couple of penalties. The All Blacks getting the maul going, getting close range before finally those close range phases pay off with Derry just kind of burrowing over. So 7 points apiece. It was kind of hard work, but it's a try and it's a good response from the ABs. Italy did get held up in reply, and I felt like Italy, like both sides certainly missed some chances. I think the All Blacks will be disappointed with the second half. Missed chances, but Italy in the first definitely had a couple of really decent chances. Like New Zealand got a free kick at scrum time. Italy ended up going up the field and getting themselves held up, which I think is a definite missed chance. The next time they got a penalty, they kind of felt the need to opt for the 3 to get those points as a reward for the territorial pressure. So they did get 10 points on the board to go back into the lead. Both sides had a few errors. Like both sides had errors from the restarts. Like BC kicked it out on the full. The All Blacks were in front of the kicker at their restart, so yeah, it's kind of some teething problems, I guess, from both sides as well. But the Italians had another missed chance on 22 minutes when the All Blacks got pinged at the breakdown. It was like back-to-back-to-back penalties, really. On the wrong side of the referee were the ABs, but as Italy went for touch, they got pinged at line-out time. So 2 real kind of clutch missed chances. That's if my memory is right. I got to admit, I was watching this game not long after having had dinner with my father-in-law, who likes to get on the drinks at dinner time. So we were drinking some pretty strong liquor. And then I immediately sat down to watch the All Blacks whilst, having had a few drinks. So that's what I remember about that period of play anyway. I got to put that out there in case I'm getting all that wrong. But to be fair, first 25 minutes, the Italians had a decent period of pressure, a decent period of territory, but 3 points up for all that hard work they had on. And then the All Blacks pulled off a really great attack, which saw Will Jordan close in at that stage on Doug Howlett's try-scoring record. And it was a kind of a little bit reminiscent of the French plays that they always do for BLBRA. If you saw in the Six Nations, they love just putting dinking kicks through for that man to chase. Well, the All Blacks did this one with Geordie Barrett putting a dink through. The Italian fullback was kind of wise to it. Tommy Allen, he rushed up to try and shut it down, but couldn't quite grab it. Leroy Carter is the guy to pounce on it. Their one-handed pass as there's defensive pressure being put on him to Will Jordan. So Will Jordan with the support line, he gets it down. It is a pretty well-worked try from the ABs because it started in their own half. Bit of ambition to play. And 14 points to 10. The All Blacks go in front. They will not relinquish that lead. Now, we did get a bit of TMO intervention here. And I am not... There's two things I'm not a fan of. One is Ben Whitehouse as the TMO because I feel like he likes to get himself a bit over-involved and sometimes gets himself down rabbit holes he doesn't need to go down. And Luke Pearce, who I think is a good ref, but I don't think is a good assistant ref because he wants to get himself involved too much. Like, I know you need to be there to support the ref, but both those guys had moments where it's just like, let's let the game play. So Ben Whitehouse had us having a look to see if Leroy Carter had kind of deliberately knocked the ball to avoid a tackle and then regather it and then pop it to Will Jordan. Eventually they come to the conclusion, no, the try stands, but we just wasted 90 seconds of everyone's lives and stopped the game and let everyone have a breather and whatnot. So I wasn't a big fan of that moment. I'll be honest, I was a fan of the try. I don't think it needed a full stoppage and a full review afterwards. But hey, on that scale of erring towards let's check everything with a microscope or let's let the game play, I lean more towards let the game play. Let the real howlers be pinged and reviewed, but this is one that just needs to be let play. Anyway, they do let the game play eventually. It's 14 points to 10. The Italians won a scrum penalty, which I thought maybe is going to shift the momentum in their favour, but the All Blacks, to be fair, handled it pretty well. Had 16 phases of their own before halftime, but ended up losing the ball. So we go into the sheds with that narrow 4-point lead. And it's been a bit of an arm wrestle, but it kind of flew by with me on the drinks with the old boy. So, yeah, the first half flew by, but I don't think it was the All Blacks' finest. I thought Italy were doing all right. All things considered, they had a good start, they had a decent scrum, and that held out the All Blacks' pressure in the kind of second half of that first half. Possession finished at 66-34, but it was certainly largely in the final 20 minutes of that half where the All Blacks had more possession. Territory is also 55-45 to the ABs, more run meters. Line breaks is 2-1, but that would open up a lot in the second half. Defenders beaten 15-7, the kicks from hand 4-6. Very little kicking. Like, there were a couple of early kicks high either way. I think both sides didn't catch them clean. They both kind of dropped them, but there wasn't a lot of a kind of high ball test, which is, like I mentioned, something I would have liked the All Blacks to get a bit more kind of match practice in. But anyway, second half starts with both the All Blacks debutants having their hands in a pretty nice try. Morby had come on for Carter in the first half, and Segner came on for Jacobson at half-time. Segner had a big carry early on in the build-up. Morby was able to exploit a bit of an overlap, which was really pleasing, because he didn't shovel the ball wide. He saw that there was an overlap and then cut inside as the defense was drifting out to the right. And he sets up Roygaard with his first and only try of the game, but Roygaard's pretty good value for a try, isn't he? So 21 points to 10. The All Blacks are starting to look a bit more comfortable, especially then when the Italians go, what was like 16 odd phases. They desperately needed to be the next team to score, but the All Blacks defensive pressure held. They pinched the ball. There were more waves from the exit of Italian attack, but the All Blacks turned that defensive pressure into points, which is one that will, I think, greatly please Dave Rennie, because it's two defensive sets they held out, and then they turned that defense into points because turnover ball, Morby goes close, and then close range phases, De Groot goes over. He's had a hard-working couple of games, so 26 points to 10 with the missed conversion. I think that's close to being game over, but not quite. But the next try it's only 3 minutes after De Groot's try. It is the game over one. Will Jordan equals Howlett's record as the All Blacks really start shifting the ball really well. So I'm talking about this All Blacks passing game. Morby to Will Jordan, 33 points to 10. That's the game. And it gets worse for the Italians because Nicolo Cannone, in the build-up to that try, basically just headbutted Roygaard. I mean, he might argue that he was trying to free himself from being held at the back of a ruck, but, bro, he just put his head into Roygaard. It was mind-numbingly stupid. Dumb. I'm surprised the ref just kind of yellow carded it and sent it for review, because it's 20-minute red. Could have just been a straight red. I think if the ref has the option, maybe you just 20-minute red him, but they got to review it. They don't have the option of just setting a 20-minute red. They have to get the bunker to do that. But I don't know. It's dumb. It's dumb. What else can you say about that one? So 33-10. Now it's 15 against 14. Can the All Blacks punish with the man advantage? Yes, they can, virtually immediately. Will Jordan equals the record 3 minutes earlier and takes the record 3 minutes later. It is quick tap play to Geordie Barrett with a wide pass to Will Jordan out wide. It almost looks too easy, and we are 40 points to 10 up. It is starting to look like the All Blacks are going to run away with this one. But to the Italians' credit, they had a really decent period here. They've got a man disadvantage. The All Blacks are 40 points up on the board. They could score 50, 60, 70. We've seen the All Blacks score like 90 on the Italians not that long ago. It doesn't happen. Despite the man disadvantage, the Italians actually, got some hands going on the ball. Tommy Allen went past Morby. Brex had a nice offload, and they did get try time to Marine, the substitute, who'd come on, because both sides had missed a few players. Like the Faisal, the winger, had gone off for Italy in the first half, but Allen got himself injured in the build-up to that try as well, pretty seriously, so fingers crossed he's all right. But it is a try for the Italians, so 40 points to 17. That is the final scoring, mostly for the second half, to be fair. It's certainly the Italians' final scoring. But, yeah, the All Blacks, basically from this period out, you feel like if there's an area to, I don't mean to bring it down when you just won 47 points to 17, but there was a number of missed chances after missed chances after missed chances. Like knock-ons, like Artie Savia had a knock-on. Maybe he was stripped when he was having a big carry. Ruben Love almost got himself, well, he did get himself yellow-carded at one point defensively, but then they un-yellow-carded him because the Ben Whitehouse, the TMO, got involved to say that his slapping down of the ball as it was going into Varney's hands, the Italian number 9, constituted an Italian knock-on somehow. They pulled some magic out of the hat. I don't know there. I felt like just leave it as the yellow card, because you're not allowed to slap the ball out of a guy's hands, are you? So, I don't know. That one seemed like a bizarre call. I think the TMO should have left that one well enough alone. But anyway, Ruben Love gets yellow carded for a second week in a row and then miraculously un-yellow carded. But, yeah, All Blacks, like I said, Savia knock on. Line out, which we had, which was not clean. The Italians ended up hacking it through. So multiple missed chances, at least like 3 decently good try-scoring chances, which you would like to convert at least one of them. They didn't get nothing. We did get the icing on the cake on through Vai, but it took until the 81st minute. It had been through a lot of phases, so it was coming, but it took some effort. So 47 points to 17 is the final score. The All Blacks dominate the possession, 64%. Dominate the line breaks 11-7. Like, that's massively opened up from the first half. It was very tight. Defenders beaten as 37-14. So it all seems kind of hunky-dory. And I said 300 passes. 312 is the initial count on the passes. The All Blacks didn't average anywhere near that last season. And this game may be an outlier, but you can see what they are trying to do. Multiple guys getting so many passes in this one. They got the backs going as well. D-Mac, 5 defenders beaten. Will Jordan, 5 defenders beaten. Morby comes off the bench, has 4 line breaks and 2 try assists. Ross Vincent is left tackling the house down with 30 tackles for Italy. But like I said, 47-17 is kind of an expected win, which is not exceptional enough to be a big headline grabber. It's about what was predicted to happen, which happened. I think the manner about it is kind of interesting because we did see the All Blacks passing it so much, looking to move it so much. Missed a few chances, didn't get tested under the high ball. Scrum came under a bit more pressure than maybe we would have liked. And the Italians, their handling was better than last week, but they needed more ball. You're going to struggle to live off 36% possession, and they really needed to convert those chances they had in the first half to at least put the All Blacks, 2 scores down, and then maybe the mental, pressures start to weigh on the All Blacks guys. But it never got to that point, really. They were kind of forced to opt for a 3 and just take a marginal lead for a decent period. But yeah, interesting game. Dave is still building what he is building. I look forward to see how things play out with that. And the Italians have now got to fly over to Australia. Remember, they've racked up some air miles, the Italians. They flew over from Japan, which is a heck of a flight to be playing a game a week later. It's a lot of time zones, and it is a lot of just travel time. It's a big flight from Japan. So you guys let us know your thoughts on the game. What you think of the love, yellow card, the TMO involvements, the ref. Nah, don't talk about the ref. Tell me about the game. You guys take care, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.